I'm your host, Eric Kinnaman, and it's time for your TLC Hiking Club monthly vid clip. Let's get right into it, guys. It's been a while, actually, a little over a month since the last time I've been on here. It was in January, so let's get caught up and let's do that quickly. What has happened in the last 38 days, 39 days. Anyhow, February 2nd was the Union Peak hike, and it was actually 3 summits that we did in that preserve. Ended up being, how many miles? 11 miles or so that we put on that day up in the Phoenix Sonoran Preserve. First time that I had ever been up there, so wanted to hit all 3 summits. It was a good day. It was some good hikes. Union Peak is the official summit of that preserve, so check that one off, bagged and tagged. It was a good showing. We had, 31 people that attended that day. Wow. Nice showing. Thanks to all of you who did attend that particular hike on the February the 2nd. Moving onward, the next hike that I had done was Elephant Mountain. And this particular hike, I got to tell you, man, Elephant Mountain, that summit, I certainly underestimated it. Nothing of huge caliber, but I thought it was just going to be a regular old little, squaw peak maybe type of summit, and it was brutal, man. The terrain, heading up there was brutal. It was fun. I mean, I think it was a heck of an adventure that it ended up being. The scrambling, the sliding down the mountain, the talus that you had to look out for, that small ridge line that you had to walk. Just to make it up the summit. And then that class 3 climb area, that was pretty sketchy as well, man. So thanks to all of you who attended the Elephant Mountain hike, and then we returned on Trail 252, which I heard a lot of compliments about that trail, the remoteness, the primitiveness, if that is a word, of the trail. It's one of my favorite inner valley hiking trails, if you will. Moving onward, we just did last weekend, March 2nd, Sunday, March 2nd, we had done Vulture Peak, which was, dude, I'm telling you, way out there. I mean, I know I live over in Tukey, but man, still, that's, out to Wickenburg, and that drive, I think it's the drive, that once you go from Surprise to Wicken, to nearly getting into Wickenburg, that vast of nothingness, of flat brown desert, so it's just not a very nice drive getting out there. But it is what it is. I'm glad that I've done it. Vulture Peak Summit, it's a good scramble. It's a nice little scramble to get to the top, some class 3 climbs. And I got to tell you, we were engulfed in a cloud at the top, which really made the day. I mean, there isn't too often that you can reach a summit and be in a cloud. The timing has to be kind of perfect. It only happens to me, once or twice a year at best in this so-called winter time of Phoenix. So that really added to the flavor of the hike. Thanks again to all those who attended the Vulture Peak hike. And then some of us went over to the Hassayampa River Preserve, which is an arroyo. And that was the word I was looking for that day. An arroyo is an underground river. And Arizona has, I guess, the most arroyos in a concentrated area than anywhere in the world, which draws some types of tourists and scientists, etc., etc. Anyhow, Hassayampa River is an arroyo, flows underground, above ground, underground, above ground, and the preserve, which is in Wickenburg, and I had been there before, but my theory was, if I'm going to travel over 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and still kind of be in the Valley of Phoenix, or just out of the Valley of Phoenix, then I was going to incorporate another hike by being out there, because 4.5 miles, frankly, it's not much, so I had to get some sort of a workout in. And, I think we had a good time. The River Preserve, if you've never been there, I recommend it. There's some easy strolls, but it's a very riparian area, very lush and green, riparian type of vegetation. So if you've ever been out there, spend $5, take the stroll through it. Might take you an hour, hour and a half to get through all the trails. I think if you do all the trails, you know, say 3.2 miles. So it's nothing that bad, but it is a very pretty part of the so-called Sonoran Desert in that part of the valley or that part of the state. Anyhow, moving on. Our next hike coming up is the Chiricahua, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. If not, my apologies. Anyhow, we're going to end up putting on probably 13, 14 miles that day because we are doing the entire loop, and I hope you all have been watching the thread, the discussion board, the thread on Meetup. A ton of information on there. When we're leaving, when we're getting back, where we're stopping, where the P breaks are at, you know, yada, yada, yada. No dogs allowed on these trails. Unfortunately, that's not my rule. It's the park's rule where we're going. It is going to be about a 3.5-hour drive. Now, if you are planning on staying down there in Wilcox, just know that drive times may vary due to traffic and construction. So you may have to, you know, wait for us a little while. And cell phone coverage down there in that park, I have no idea. It may be sparse. It may not be any at all. So be prepared to be old school for the day and just have to wait for us to arrive if you guys are not carpooling down and you're going down the night before and staying in Wilcox or what have you. So just be prepared for that. Be prepared that you're going to get home late. It is what it is. It's just one of those adventures. It's time consuming. We're going to be spending 7 hours on the freeway, if not more, that day. You know, we'll do our best to get back in time, but, you know, I am going to stop and get something to eat on the way back. I just can't do nothing but trail food for 14 hours of my time that day. So, you know, I hope you guys understand that. What else do we have in store coming up after the Chiricahua on the 15th? We have, and by the way, that is a heavily sought-after hike. That Chiricahua National Monument Heart of Rocks Loop has been in Arizona Highways magazine several times. It's been in some nationally renowned magazines as well. So it is a heavily sought-after area. It's probably a one-timer gig. So it is what it is. Anyhow, moving on. End of the month. You sunk my battleship, Battleship Mountain. Can you board the ship is the local terminology, if you can board the ship. Phenomenal hike. I've never done it. It's going to be a first-timer for me. I've wanted to do it for years now. It's right around the corner. Here it comes. I guess there's some scrambles, and if you're scared of heights and steep ledges, this is not going to be for you. So please understand steepness, ledges, sketchiness, class 3 climbs. If that is not for you, then you want to bow out of You Sunk My Battleship. It's going to be a phenomenal day, a phenomenal hike as we start to gain momentum in our training sessions and these hikes as we get prepared for Cactus to Clouds at the end of April. Baby, it's coming. Get ready. The hardest ultra day hike in North America, going one way. And I think we've discussed this before, and people, yeah, but if you do rim to rim to rim, that's harder. Well, yeah, and if you do rim to rim to rim to rim, that's even harder yet, you know. So what I'm talking about is one trail, one way, the hardest day hike in North America. Because, you know, we can do Cactus to Clouds and then come all the way back down and add another 10 miles. And then, you know what I'm saying? So I hope you understand the relation there. One way, one hike, 8,000 feet gain in just 11 miles. That there alone, I don't know where else you're going to find that unless you head to, like, Nepal, over, you know, Kathmandu, Nepal, over there in that area. Anyhow, moving on. I hope you guys have a productive next week, a great weekend. It's spring break. Enjoy it. We'll see you on the trail or at the meetup Saturday morning for the Chiricahua. Peace.